Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here. Welcome to the September 2022 channel update. This video is exclusive for channel members for 1 week, so this will be published on September 24th. It's currently 2:30 in the morning that I'm recording this, and then it will go live for the general public on the 30th of September. Okay, so this has been a pretty interesting month. Going into this month, I really wasn't sure what I would be doing on the channel. I knew that work would be very busy. I actually had to create another Twitter account just for work purposes, not for any bad reason or anything. It's just I got credit for doing some things publicly mentioned on Twitter by some coworkers, and then people within the field that I'm working in started following me. And the work that I do at Riot is for Scholastic Esports. So I had a lot of college coaches and college administrators following me. And not that my personal Twitter account is anything bad, but I was thinking they're going to have no idea why they're following this account that's for a YouTube channel and a Met fan and a raging liberal on the internet. So let's just make a work account that's specifically catered to those folks. So I had to do that, which is really cool. But point being, I knew work was going to be very busy this month, so I wasn't sure what all I would get to do on the channel. Now, I discussed this in the previous channel update, but I had been wanting to cover and do a walkthrough series for The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Ocarina of Time Master Quest. This turned into a bigger process than I anticipated. I still own the GameCube that I purchased for $99.99 back in, I think, 2001 or 2002. It has sat, after I stopped playing it in, I guess, 2004, after I played Wind Waker to death. I was never into Smash, so I didn't play Smash. But so after I finished Wind Waker, it literally just sat in a closet. And it sat in that closet for about 18 years. And I did not bring it with me when I moved to North Carolina. I didn't take it out of my parents' house when I moved back to New York when I lived in Queens. I didn't take it with me when I moved to New Jersey. But when I was moving to California, I decided to take it because I had sort of been itching to do this walkthrough series. Now, you may be wondering, why not just do it on Switch? There's a couple of reasons for that. The number one reason is that I also want to do a walkthrough for Master Quest. And Master Quest is only available on the GameCube, which I actually own this, which is the only way to play it on a console. The other way to play it is on the 3DS version, which I do own. However, capturing footage from a 3DS is a huge project that involves modding a 3DS, and I don't like emulating things, not for any sort of legal reason. I just don't like the way that emulators look and sound. So I decided to take my GameCube, and I was getting it all ready, and I set it up a few weeks ago, and it didn't read discs. It wouldn't read anything. I couldn't believe it. It wouldn't read Wind Waker, wouldn't read Ocarina of Time, wouldn't read the Zelda 4 game collection disc that I also have. It wouldn't even read the Game Boy Player startup disc. It wouldn't read anything. So I brought it to a local repair shop here in Los Angeles called Cali Games. They've had it for 4 weeks now and cannot figure out the problem. The lens has been replaced. The capacitors, the transistors, those little tiny little tower things, those have been replaced and resoldered into the board. They've tried new ribbons. They've tried everything. They're basically at the point now to see if they can reflow the board or the CPU on the board, and maybe that'll work. But I kind of got the feeling that nothing was going to work, and this can happen on old consoles. I'm not entirely surprised. I'm just bummed because my original GameCube is no longer functioning. It turns on, but it just doesn't read anything. So I looked on eBay, and I got a functioning GameCube. Also, the Platinum version is actually right here. I got this off eBay. Looks exactly like the one that I had. Game Boy player is attached, although that's my Game Boy player. It did not come with it. And it works. This GameCube works perfectly. So, my original one is still with Cali Games. Maybe they'll fix it. Maybe they won't. I don't know. If they do, great. I'll have two. I'll have one for a backup. It's never a bad thing. But I have finally started playing Ocarina of Time. And as a special treat to everyone that is a channel member, that walkthrough will go live for you a week early. I normally don't like doing things like this, like paywalling real content. Not that this isn't real content, but a walkthrough is helpful. It's for everyone. It's evergreen content. I don't normally like paywalling things, but because this has been such an ordeal, and because I talked about this to you guys a month ago, I figured, and because this game is so old, it's 24 years old, let's make it a treat for a little while. So once this video goes public, the walkthrough will go public as well. And I'm going to be publishing it as I make it. I was hoping to just sort of dump it all at once, but I kind of got the idea of like making this like a little treat for members early. So there it is. When you watch that walkthrough, I do hope you enjoy it. You will notice that it is low resolution. It is only 480p. I don't really like stretching images. I don't like forcing widescreen on old games. If you go back all the way to my Castlevania, Rondo of Blood, and Symphony of the Night guides, even though that was recorded on the PS4 version of the game, I still played it in 4:3. I did not use any of the borders. I just played it normal. That's how I prefer to play games. And like I said a moment ago, the reason I didn't want to play this on Switch is Master Quest is not available on Switch, but also within the first 5 minutes of starting the game on Switch, you will notice that Link and the other characters in the game look really good. They look very sharp, but the backgrounds most of the time that you're walking around on look like mud. It's like indecipherable. But when you play it on older hardware, the backgrounds still look a little muddy, but Link looks a little muddy as well. And while that may seem like a bad thing, it just means that everything matches and it's much more cohesive, and in my opinion makes for a much more enjoyable experience rather than the 3D polygons clashing really hard with the backgrounds. So that's the reason I like to do it. I really enjoy playing games in their original format. Unfortunately, I don't own a Nintendo 64 version of Ocarina of Time, which I'm honestly a little upset about because I got the game at launch, and there are some key differences in the different versions of Ocarina of Time over the years. Most notably, the music in the Fire Temple has been changed, and I think that got changed in 1.1. The blood of Ganon at the end of the game is green instead of red, and then the mirror shield and all the Spirit Temple emblems are different. It's kind of a bummer, but we make do. So we're playing on the GameCube version. Thank you again so much for your patience. We're going to do Ocarina of Time, and then we're going to do Master Quest right after. And that sort of brings me to my next point, the next topic that I wanted to talk about. I've been saying for a while that I was going to cover God of War Ragnarok. I don't know if I'm going to. I watched the trailer for Ragnarok that was in the recent State of Play, and it looks fantastic. But I have been struggling to even revisit God of War 2018. I started it on stream a few months ago, and I haven't touched it since. I don't think it's for me. I would like to try to get back to it. I thought maybe I'll make it a couch game and just play it by myself and not stream it. I haven't even done that. So I'm still in the position where this is not a full-time job, and as much as I would like for it to be a full-time job, I never want to force myself to play games that I'm not really enjoying just for the sake of making content. That's not my style. I don't want to do that. So I'm just not going to. I think with having this GameCube functioning, hopefully for as long as possible. Oh, I forgot to talk about having to fix this. My Wavebird controller. A battery exploded in here at some point in the last 15, 16 years and corroded inside. It exploded. The corrosion got stuck on everything, and I had to... The spring where the battery goes was permanently pressed down. I had to get a toothbrush, some rubbing alcohol, and a pair of pliers and unhook it from the corrosion and get the spring working again. That was a saga yesterday. Anyway, I don't want to force myself to play games that I'm just not into. But having the GameCube I think now's a good time for me to go through like the Zelda library, at least Ocarina of Time, Master Quest, then maybe Majora's Mask. I've really got to plan out how I would want to do a Majora's Mask walkthrough. But that's sort of my line of thinking. So I think God of War is off the table for now. That said, this December, it was announced, also in that state of play, that Crisis Core Reunion. Now, is it going to be Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, or is it going to be Crisis Core Reunion Final Fantasy VII? Or Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion? Who knows? The official title of the PSP version is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, so that's why I think there might be a chance this one can get a little funky too. Anyway, that game is coming out. I will 100% cover that game. Crisis Core is the first game that made me cry. I remember playing it on a plane. I think coming back from Los Angeles, I was playing it on my PSP on the plane, and the ending cutscene like made me cry. And if you've never played it before, I won't spoil it for you, but it is emotional. And even knowing what happens in that game before you play it, because it's a prequel and you know what happens to Zack and Cloud, yada, 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 you know that from the original Final Fantasy VII, the way they did it in that game was just so powerful to me. And I remember sitting on the plane alone. My girlfriend at the time was sitting like a few rows away, just bawling. And like, that was the first time that I was like, wow, storytelling in video games can be powerful. So I have a special fondness for Crisis Core, so I'll 100% cover that when it comes out in December. Now, here's the tricky thing. I'm going to go back to New York for the holidays. My holiday break starts, I think, December 23rd. So I think Crisis Core Reunion comes out the 17th or something like that. So hopefully I can get a little bit early and blast through it, maybe. But I will cover it no matter what. I definitely want to do that. Okay, so the other thing that I want to talk about, this is a bigger update than I guess I anticipated. So there's two other topics. One is a game called Eterna Noctis, and the other topic is more just work-related. So Eterna Noctis is a 2D Metroidvania. I streamed it 3 or 4 times. This game is really, really good. It's made by an indie developer out of Spain. The game did not, at least from what I could tell, did not have a really big marketing campaign at all. I'm subscribed to a number of newsletters, both indie and AAA. Like, I get a lot of information about a lot of games. I searched my inbox for this game, and it only came up once in like a 10 game newsletter like 3 years ago. Maybe it's just money. Like, marketing for games is very expensive, but it's incredible how good this game is when you think about how little it was marketed. My good friend Joe found this game about a year ago in a trailer, kept it in the back of his mind, and then the other day a bunch of us were talking, and he was talking about needing a new game to play because he was a little bored. And then he said, I think I'm going to try this game Noctis something. And then he found the trailer, and he raved about it within hours. And then I picked it up, and I think I've played this game for like 45 hours already, and I'm only 70% of the way through the game. It is so big, it's insane. I almost want to tell you, don't watch too far into my streams, because the areas that you go to in this game are incredible. Truly incredible. It is, I believe it's still on sale. It's available on Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, both Steam and Epic Game Store. Play this game. If you like Castlevania games, especially Metroidvania style games, if you like games like Hollow Knight or Blasphemous, which I've raved about in the past, really anything in that realm, you want to play this game. I'll tell you right now, looking at it, you may not think much of the graphics, but trust me when I tell you, the gameplay is incredibly tight and carries any weirdness that the game might have. And when you get deeper into the game, the art will blow you away. Guaranteed. Cannot recommend this game enough to you. It did come out a few years ago, and because I just got so addicted to it, and I was not planning on doing any guides for this, but I wish I knew to like record all my footage and do guides. I really do. It is so good, but I can't recommend you play it enough. So if you want to check out a little bit, check out my streams. Don't go too far because I don't want you to spoil really cool things for yourself, but check it out for sure. The other thing that I want to talk about just for a few minutes is work. So we're going to relax here a bit. I do just want to say, I had like story time videos that I published last year, published another one about creepy internet people about a month ago. But I spent one of the story time videos talking about, it was the story of my career so far, and it was an hour and 45 minutes long. When I took this job at Riot, I started as a contractor last June, in June 2021. And then I converted to full-time in March. I moved out here to LA at the end of May. Working on Scholastic Esports, the calendar of work really follows the American school year, or the North American school year for the United States and Canada. So primarily end of August through May or June. We've recently launched College Valorant, which is a competitive season for Valorant for college students in the United States and Canada. This has been a Herculean effort, however you say that word, effort on the part of myself, one of my coworkers, sort of my supervisor, and then our manager. And, various teams that we've touched along the way for assistance and guidance with Valorant itself. That has now launched, and it's gone extremely well. I'm also responsible for our college club program. So anybody who has like a League of Legends club at their school, and we're starting to move into Valorant now as well to support that. I interface with all them, and I work with them all the time. I got to go to Chicago a few weeks ago for LCS Summer Finals. Got to give a tour backstage at the United Center where the Bulls and the Blackhawks play, because that's where the event was. Got to give a tour backstage to some high school students, and we got to meet a lot of fans at the Fan Fest. We had a booth, and the reason I'm even talking about this is just to, I've gotten questions about like, hey, like how's it going out there? It's going super, super fucking well. The past several days at work, I've worked pretty late. I'm going on vacation this weekend, or actually starting Monday. Going to Disneyland with some friends from Arizona and here in California. I'm really looking forward to it. So, I'm taking some days off, but I've worked pretty late most days, to like 8 or 9. And I haven't really minded. Like, the work gives me a really good energy. And like, one of my mentors, I don't use that word lightly. Like, there's a whole Seinfeld episode about mentors and mentees, and it's kind of makes fun of the whole thing. There are a lot of people that I've interfaced with over the past decade plus of me trying to get into this industry and work in this industry and continue to work in this industry. Very few of them have really provided anything in the way of help. And, when I was younger, I would say, hey, is the company you work for, are you hiring? Can you get me a job? Of course, I was that dude, and I was trying to play those cards, and it never worked. Not even talking about that. Just talking about people who would give me the time of day. There are very, very few people who really took the time to talk with me for 5 minutes, let alone establish real relationships with them and friendships and, constantly be in touch. Even if it's just like once a year at a very scheduled time, like we know to get together and talk. Like, very few people along the way have been that for me. And it's always people that I would least expect. Like, I knew people very young who went on to work in the industry and do huge things. But then when I would try to talk to them, it was like they wouldn't give me the time of day, or they would just yes me to death, and they would ignore me. And it was really other people that I did not grow up with, or that I met through running tournaments or just met along the way that turned out to be the most influential. And one of those people told me several years ago, when I was really struggling to figure out what my place would be in this industry and what career track I wanted to take and what I wanted to do for a job, he told me, do what gives you good energy. Move in that direction and you'll figure it out. And that has been like a North Star for me for the past 7 or 8 years. And every day at work, working on College Valorant and the club program and the other stuff that I'm working on, it gives me good energy. It really does. Like, I can't exaggerate. It really is giving me good energy to be out here, to do this work that I'm doing. And I know that I'm trying not to, like, I do feel guilty that I haven't, like, really uploaded a lot of content in the past several months. I knew moving out to LA would make me take a pause for a while, and I was actually grateful it did. I needed that break, especially after the Elden Ring madness. And I'm very excited to get back into this with Ocarina of Time and some classic stuff. But I am starting to notice that, like, this is a place, Riot specifically, and this type of work that I'm doing, this is where I need to be. Like, this is what I need to be doing. It's the first time in a very, very long time that I've been at a job where I feel like I'm valued, where I feel like my opinion is respected. My people ask me questions, like they're coming to me for advice or for input, and I'm thanked and I'm valued and I'm appreciated. That is so rare in life, in careers, and I feel very lucky to have it. I really do. I was telling a friend about this today as I was sitting at my desk trying to bang through some work at 8:30 at night while watching the Met game on one monitor and, like, just trying to, like, manage some spreadsheets and, like, really take a big chunk out of something that I've kind of put on the back burner for a little while before I go on vacation. And it just felt great to do. So just want to let you guys know that, like, I'm feeling very good out here, and I'm excited to get back to work on this Ocarina of Time walkthrough and, like, get back to regular uploads and more walkthrough content. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah, cool. So it's been a while since I've done, like, a 20-plus minute channel update, but life is good. We're playing Ocarina of Time, and we'll get to Master Quest eventually. The GameCube, my GameCube is not back up and running, but I got another one. I also got this hat. Got this today. Yeah, so that's it. All right, I'll give a shout out to my channel members. Of course, I never have this up when I should have it up, but you know me by now. I never have my shit together. I also never remember where the list is. Anyway, all right. Thank you very much to John Aldrich, Hector J. Estrada, Joe Saunders, Daniel Cockerill, Spencer Young, Phoenix Loader, Jude Lazowski, The Old One, Brian Brubaker, Stu J. Mac 26, Bagdat Money, and Greg is a new channel member. Thank you very much, Greg. Okay, that's it. Yeah, so Ocarina of Time walkthrough. You members, if you're watching this early as part of your exclusive window, you'll get the Ocarina of Time walkthrough in chunks exclusively until 1 week, so until September 30th. Then I'll go live for everybody else. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Leave some comments. And yeah, I'm excited. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one.